Hello, gamers, and welcome back to another episode of the Intentional Game Design Podcast. My name is Dark, and with me, as always, I have Mr. VidMC. How you doing today, Vid?
I am fantastic. Thanks for asking.
Superb, superb. So,
Yeah.
it's been a little while since we recorded last. I think we were looking at some of the secondary Ghast-related updates and them dragging things around in boats last time, and that was like a
Yeah.
month ago, and not much else has changed
Well,
since.
unfortunately, yeah, we're in that sort of fortunately, I guess, if we want to put it that way, we're in that kind of end of development cycle where 1.21.6 is right around the corner. In fact, like honestly, it could be out by the time our podcast is out. It's
Could
that
be.
fast.
Mhm.
But all we've seen is like minor bug fixes for the last like several releases in several weeks.
Mhm.
So there's not a whole lot new to talk about.
No. So, what we thought we'd do instead today is a bit of a tier list exercise for a bit of fun. So, obviously, we go through these updates in detail on these podcast episodes. But yeah, today we're still going to do a bit of an overview of everything that's released in the whole past 1 year. Tomorrow, at the time of recording, tomorrow will be the 1 year anniversary of 1.21 Tricky Trials releasing. So,
Nice. So a
yeah,
whole year of 1.21.
a whole year
We've
of
got a lot of stuff to
1.21.
cover.
121.6 anytime now. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out tomorrow, honestly, if they want to hit that anniversary.
Yeah, kind of
So
what I'm thinking.
yeah, well we'll see, but we're going to go through all the major updates that we've had in the past year and rank them for a bit of giggle. This is our opinions, by the way. We're not saying anything definitive with what we're saying here. As always, these are our
Of
opinions,
course, yeah.
and we're going to be ranking these based on our individual opinion. We need to come to some agreement between us. That's where each
Yeah,
of
yeah,
these things sit. But this is Vid and Dark, not the Minecraft community as a whole's opinions.
yeah.
But let us know what you do and don't agree with as we go. So we really, really like to know what you think as we go through too.
Yeah, if we make some major omissions or glaring errors, please let us know in the comments down below. I'm curious to see if you guys think the same way we do.
Absolutely. And as always, like and subscribe, stay up to date with what we're going to do. So as soon as the next update comes out and there's more to talk about, we'll be right here to take you on that journey. All right, so
Nice, let's jump into it.
yeah, I've prepared a little bit of a board, and we're going to hop over there now. Let's go over to our board, and we will start going through these things one by one. All right. So this is our board. Typical tier list. We got S tier is the best, and then you got A through to F. F being absolute fail. And then on the right here, we've just got a bunch of things through all the updates from 1.21. Nothing really happened in 1.21.1. That was just a bug fix update. Not only a couple of things in 121.2, 121.3 that got skipped again, 121.4, 5, and then coming up 121.6, which will be all the new stuff dropping any day.
Nice.
So we're going to start at the beginning, and 121.1. 1 year ago, we got the Tricky Trials updates, which brought to us trial chambers, a whole new Minecraft structure into Minecraft, and a whole bunch of stuff that came with them for the most part. There was an awful lot in this update as I was putting it together. It's enormous. I've forgotten how much stuff we got all at once.
It really was a lot. I'm really curious to know what your thoughts are on the trial chambers.
Yeah.
So I had an opportunity to play the trial chambers right when the first snapshot came out.
Okay.
I got invited to a server where we were trying it out, and it was fun. But
Mhm.
in all honesty, never played it again. I've never even been to a trial chamber on our SMP world. Nothing.
Yeah,
So
very similar here. I've never been to one full stop, actually, now I think about it.
okay.
In a whole year that these things
So
have been out.
yeah, so you probably are thinking kind of the same thing I'm thinking. Now, the great source of copper. Like this is the one thing they kind of took away
Mhm.
our ability to farm copper. All the best copper farm designs kind of stopped working.
Mhm.
So now, if you want copper, your best thing to do is go to a trial chamber and just mine.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
and so great source of copper. But other than that, in terms of like the PvP stuff or PvE stuff, I guess I don't know if you're into that. I guess it's fun.
Mhm.
I'm not. I would probably rank it like maybe somewhere in the C, but that's me.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. That's sort of middle of the table here. Like, I mean, I
Yeah.
struggle to have an opinion because I haven't been in one, but I've seen so many people who have. It looks like a fun experience. It looks like it's something fun to do, and there's so much other stuff attached to it, which makes them worth it on the whole. But like,
Yeah.
I think structures in Minecraft generally just have this problem of replayability in general, and they've not found a way to solve that yet. Like, you don't really have many
Yep.
reasons to go back to them once you've done it. Same with a Woodland Mansion, same with Desert Temple, same with everything else, right? It's just, yeah, I'll do it if I pass one, but unless I need tons of copper, I have no real reason to go back.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
C it is. That's handy. It was already green. I've color coded these as well, so we can see at the end where the overall updates play out. So,
okay, nice.
In our trial chambers, we encounter Breeze as a mob, and this is the only place they spawn.
Yeah, I noticed that you separated Breeze from Wind Charge, so
yeah,
that'll be interesting because I suspect the Wind Charges are going to rank higher than the Breeze itself.
Probably.
If there was a way to obtain the Wind Charges like en masse without having to worry about Breeze, I think that would be way better. Breeze, I mean, again, if you're into fighting mobs, great. For me personally, I could care less. I don't think it added a huge amount to the game. That's just me. It's for those people who like the trial chambers. You want to go into the trial chambers, you want a unique experience. That's great. So I'd probably go, either C, same as trial chambers, or maybe lower, just because I don't know.
I'm thinking a little lower because they're not as good as trial chambers, but they don't exist without them. But they don't exist anywhere else. I don't think they were anywhere near as big of a challenge as people were hoping. Like, the only reason they seem to exist is to give you wind charges.
Yep. And I mean, they have a cool mechanic where when they're firing wind charges at you, they can trigger redstone stuff around you. But even in the trial chambers, that's kind of underutilized. Like there's like a couple trapdoors that that open and close, and that's it. So yeah, D tier for sure. Let's talk about wind charges though.
Right, wind charges. Yeah. So the Breeze give them out, but they to me are one of the funnest new mob drops that have been added in a while.
Absolutely. I've seen a couple different mini games created with wind charges. I've seen a couple traps created with wind charges.
Yep.
And those, even the good old redstone, the thing that shoots you up in the air so you can fly.
Yes.
That's cool.
That is really cool.
So,
it's just a cooler effect that can apply to mobs and the world and redstone and players and
absolutely. So these are high on the list for me. These are these are probably either A tier or S tier. If we're ranking in terms of the best of the current updates, then they're S tier. But if we're talking if we're ranking them against all of Minecraft, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're ranking them. We're ranking them in terms of the past year's worth of updates in general. I guess all these things against each other.
Of everything that's come out in 1.21, S tier for sure.
Yeah,
for me anyway.
I'd go with that. I think wind charges are cool. I wish they were easier to get. Is my only thing.
Because
they only come from breezes, and breeze farms are quite difficult to create.
Yeah.
And it would be nice if they were a little bit. You could just get them en masse a bit easier somehow, because they are so cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe the limitation of them actually, we do complain sometimes about things being too abundant. So maybe them being a scarce resource isn't actually a bad thing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm thinking of something like blaze rods. I mean, blaze rods are very useful, but they're also notoriously hard to collect, right? You can create a farm for them, just like you can for breezes, but the farm is not easy to set up. So
probably easier than a breeze farm. Yeah.
You think so?
At scale, definitely.
I've built a few blaze farms. I've never built a breeze farm, so I couldn't comment on that.
Yeah, especially the farm I built on Igniter this season to get blaze rods. It was a wither skeleton farm, but it also got blazes, and shulkers and shulkers and shulkers of them just pour in completely effortlessly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess if you're going to set up a multi-purpose farm like that, I'm thinking of the dedicated ones around the
spawner big
or
boxes
something.
Around a spawner. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, great. Our first S tier, the Bogged.
The Bogged.
These
have
guys
you ever
suck.
seen a Bogged in game?
I don't think I have. No.
I haven't either. I think they spawn in swamps.
It's just a skeleton with a different skin, right? It doesn't actually have any unique characteristics.
They do. So they actually shoot slowness arrows.
Oh yeah.
So if you get hit, then it's kind of a pain. Again, fantastic inside of the trial chamber, but that's for those people, those like subset of people who are like, oh, I like that style of game.
They appear in
Right? For
swamps
me,
as well,
trial
right? That's meant to
chambers,
be where they come
not that
from. Like
exciting.
the style is this sort of
Yeah.
I've just come out of the bog kind of look
Yeah.
to them. But I've
Yeah. So
not
if
seen
we,
one. I don't want to. I don't know.
yeah, that's it exactly. Like seeing them in the trial chambers is one thing, but if we discount the trial chambers and we just think about like, okay, have you ever seen one of these
Mm.
just in the world? No, I literally never have. I've been to swamps several times. I've never seen a bog.
No.
Like it, like maybe I'm wrong and where you find them, but I just don't ever remember seeing one ever in game.
F seems a little harsh. Maybe E?
Yeah, sure. Let's go E just because. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're fun for some people.
Just because
You know.
we haven't experienced them, but from what we know of them, yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Another trial chamber goodie, which you need
Mace.
the heavy cores to create.
Yeah.
Again, I've never
A
held
little
one,
hard.
and I don't know anyone who actually actively uses one. Everyone rushed to obtain one because it
No,
was a new thing,
it was
and
a new thing.
I think it's a dud. I don't think it's a good weapon
Yeah.
because no one uses
So
it.
I have seen them used, for a lot of fun in
Jokes,
multiplayer.
pranks. Yeah.
It's really great to fall on your friends and bash them with a mace.
Bring down the hammer, as B-dubs would say.
Yeah.
And miss every time and whiff it.
Exactly.
It's good
It's
for a
hammer
joke.
time. Yeah.
Exactly.
I personally have never obtained one. Again, I'm not a trial chamber guy. I
Yeah.
did get one, but I won it as a prize in another minigame. So
Okay.
I have one. I have used it in the game. It was fun for pranks, but it's now stored in my shulker box with a myriad of other things I'll never look at. So
I'm
you know,
I'm going to try and make the argument here. This is an F. This is an absolute fail.
really, you're gonna go all the way down? Okay, so I definitely wouldn't go that low. I
You
wouldn't
wouldn't?
go lower than bogged. Me, and again, all your experience will vary to mine. I would probably put it higher than trial chamber. I'd probably put it at B,
What? Really?
but maybe C, like maybe in that.
Okay. So my thinking if I'm putting it so low is that for that reason, like it had so much anticipation around it. They
Yeah.
were so like, oh, a new
Yeah.
weapon. Finally, how many updates has it been
Lot
since
of
they introduced
potential.
a new weapon? And it seemed like such an interesting idea. Like they were trying to make it unique to the others, and it only really works in very specific scenarios. But those scenarios never happen in game naturally. You have to create the scenario
some
by
mini
creating
games though that have
scaffolding.
been used in Mace?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can,
sure,
like,
yeah, but that's not why it was made. It was made to be
No.
a new type of weapon that actually has value. You go around and use to kill mobs in the world, and even in the trial chambers, like it's even more useless
Okay.
in the place where you find it because there's no places to drop down high from.
Okay, I'll concede on this one. I'm not attached to the
Well,
Mace. Like
we
I said, it was
compromise.
fun to get one.
You were all the way up here, so maybe we compromise a little bit. Maybe
Yeah.
you said you wouldn't put it lower than a
Like-
bogged, so maybe we go down here.
Yeah,
We
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine for me. Yeah, because
Yeah.
like I said, I had a day of fun with a Mace. That's more than I've had with the Bogged.
True.
So I can't rate it absolute bottom of the barrel.
Fair enough. Okay, that seems like a fair compromise. But yeah, I'm so disappointed because of
Yeah,
how much potential
it
there
definitely
was.
could have been. It could have been more for sure.
New copper blocks. I didn't realize this. So much came with all this update. Not just the
Oh,
bulb,
yeah.
but the grates
Mhm.
and the trapdoors and I think the chiseled copper stuff. Like so, all these new copper blocks. This is huge.
Absolutely, this is huge. This is huge. So this again. I'm looking high here. I know I've used all the new copper blocks.
Yeah.
Lots of great tools for building. The copper bulb itself is a phenomenal
Yes.
redstone device.
Yeah, it's
Like,
a
just-
flip flop. Yeah.
Yeah, it's game changing in the implementation. I think it's fantastic. I couldn't rank it any less than S personally.
Okay. Yeah, it's A or S for me. Yeah. I mean, I like them as building blocks. They have to be used sparingly though. Like I think the trial chambers
you know
look
what?
gaudy in the way it's everywhere.
Yeah, and if we're combining all copper blocks into one thing, I'd actually be willing to knock it down a little bit because of the insane recipes for some of the things in the game.
Oh.
Like having to build trapdoors,
Yeah.
it still is. It's a pain, right? Because you can't directly craft say, aged trapdoors. You
Mhm.
have to craft copper blocks, then craft trapdoors out of them, and then let your trapdoors age.
Yep.
Which, I don't know. I feel there's something wrong with that. So
All right, I'm game for that.
yeah,
But super
A's
super
good.
great addition to the game.
Yeah.
While we're on
Yep.
blocks, we'll actually do this one next, which is the Tuff
Okay.
Blocks. I didn't realize that all these Tuff Blocks, and all of them beyond just naturally generated Tuff, like
Oh yeah.
tough bricks, polished Tuff,
Yeah.
chiseled Tuff, all of
We
this
got a
stuff.
whole set of walls and everything. Yeah.
Like for
This
building,
was
this was like my
for a
entire base
builder.
on Ignited this year is made out of all
Yep.
these blocks. Like I
Oh,
didn't
absolutely.
realize
And
that it
you're
wasn't
not the
until
only
this
one.
update.
I've seen so many people do that. Yeah, this is top as well, right?
Yeah, from a building perspective, like this just it seemed to almost double the building palette overnight. There's so much stuff in there. It's incredible. And it works great with the copper.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Love it. As a
Yeah, and
builder,
gray
to me,
blocks,
this is
I
kind of
mean,
S. Yeah, like
a
neutral
lot
gray.
of people have talked about, there being too much gray in Minecraft. But to be honest with you, when you look at builds, 99% of builds have a large amount of gray in them, right?
Yeah.
So having just another slight variation of gray, I don't think you can ever go wrong with that.
No,
And that's exactly what we got with Tuff.
It unlocked gradients that weren't there before. It
Yep.
the sort of civilization I'm building, like a dilapidated ruin type thing. Like it just looks incredible with these. Any arguments for it not being S?
No, I'm happy with S. Yeah.
All right, cool. Matt, we got new trims. I can't even remember what they're
The
called.
new trims.
Just new.
Yeah, I
we
can't
got two
remember what
new
they're called
trims.
either.
But
I think we know where those are going. Yeah,
trims in general, there was a big buzz around them when they released. It was like, oh, we could
Yeah.
do something different. Everyone kind of found their jam and they find the trim that they
Yep.
like, and it's almost
Yep.
the same for everyone, isn't it? There's like the one trim that everyone gets.
There's a few, yeah. The one I can't remember what it's called. The one from the ancient city.
Yeah, that one.
Once you get that one, and not the rare one from the ancient city, the other one, the common one from the ancient city. Everybody loves that trim. It just puts it on their full armor, and they're like, "Oh, this looks so good."
Mhm.
Like, yeah, I actually don't have that on any of my trim pieces, but I also don't use the new ones from 1.21. So
I'm not even using trims at all. I just
Yeah.
haven't bothered.
Again, it's to each his own. This is the thing. Like on Java in particular, we have such incredible customization already with our skins and with everything. Like, I don't think there's any need for this.
I got the idea that they wanted trims to be this like infinitely extensible thing, and they just keep adding more and more.
Yep.
But I think people have kind of lost interest. They settled into what they like at this point. There's already a bit too much choice, and more than half of them look terrible.
There's too much choice.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. There's too much choice and not enough variation. I'll tell you what they could do if they wanted to really make trims important. Give us some sort of in-game paint ability to make our own trim.
Ooh, I like that. Kind of like your skin. You do your own skin. You could do a custom.
Craft your own trims, and then you're completely good to go. And I know there are mods and there are ways to you can actually add your own trims to the game, but I'm talking about vanilla. I'm talking about letting the players actually draw their own trims. Completely customize their own armor. I think that would be fantastic.
I would. As for these,
yeah,
absolute meh.
As is. Yeah.
Wait, what do you? F? You're going F? Okay, I'll go F. I'm happy with that. Something's got to end up in F.
It's just nothing. There's nothing special there for me anyway. So
I didn't until I Googled what was in these updates. I didn't even realize this was a thing.
That's what I was going to say. And the fact that we can't even name the new trims, I think that says a lot, right? It's like, whatever.
Similar thing, sherds. This is another thing they seem to continue to like make updates for all the time. These were new sherds, not all sherds. These were just new patterns that came along with this.
Yeah, this is kind of like paintings in Minecraft, but a lot less special, if you ask me.
A lot less special, yeah. Who pays attention to the pattern on the side of a vase?
It's really easy to add new patterns like this to the game because there's no underlying code, nothing. It's just, adding a new model and giving it a new name kind of thing. So it makes sense that Minecraft has a bunch of these types of things that they can really easily crank out with every update. Hey, some new sherds. Hey, some new paintings. Hey, some new, flowers, some new trims, whatever. But do you care? I don't care.
Have you ever made a pot with one of these sherds?
I'm actually not even ashamed to say I have never made a pot with sherds.
I think I
Never.
did when they first
Never,
came
ever.
out as an experiment, but
Oh, yeah.
since I
You
make
know
lots
what?
of pots. Pots are cool, but what
Yeah,
patterns on the
exactly.
side
Pot
of
is
them?
fantastic. If you were talking about like just the pots, yeah.
Mm,
But in terms of what's on the side of them, meh.
meh.
Um,
More or less meh, or the same meh
yep,
as trims. What do you think?
yep, exactly. You can
Same
go
as
ahead and F
trims?
tier those as well.
Yeah, just like who cares? All
Yeah.
right. Next, we've got a whole bunch of potion stuff.
Ooh,
So we've got
okay.
4 new potion effects with this update, and these are
Nice.
should not all be weighted equally. I don't think. I think we can talk about them all together.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
to
Okay, so
me,
we can move quickly through them though.
yeah. So oozing generates these are when mobs die, right? These are when these are
Yep.
splashed on mobs. When those mobs die, they have an effect, and they either spawn slime, they spawn silverfish,
Mm-hmm.
they generate a wind charge effect on death, I believe.
Oh,
Is
interesting.
that what it
I
does?
didn't even know that one existed.
And this weaving generates cobwebs.
Weaving is cobwebs. Yeah.
I think.
So I
I think
think
that's what it does. Like
the
I forgot these last two existed again.
yeah, the weaving one, I've seen a couple people make the farm for the weaving, so I've seen like their cobweb farms. Great for farming,
Cool.
right? Um, would anybody care other than farming it? I don't know. So for that reason, I'd put it lower on the list. Wind charges, like to have a mob drop wind charges on death. Why?
Is that what it
Like
does?
what's the point? It sounds like it would just be more difficult, or not drop wind charges. I mean, explode in a wind charge way. That just makes the mobs more annoying.
Yeah, it just
So
bursts. It would
I don't know
burst of wind
why.
upon death. I just looked it up. That's exactly what it does. So it's as
Yeah.
if somebody let off a
So
wind charge, but when the mob died. Where
yeah.
is the
So
value in
I mean,
that?
this clearly this is an effect that's been put in the game to make trial chambers more challenging slash fun slash interesting. But because there's an effect, they added a potion to go along with the effect.
Mm-hmm.
Will anybody ever use that potion?
No,
I think the answer is very easily no.
I forgot it existed. Yeah, that one
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
E or F? What do you reckon?
That one would be F.
Wow.
You
Okay.
know?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, because why? Weaving, I'd go a little bit higher because again,
Yeah.
if you want to collect cobwebs,
Sure.
yeah, you make a farm. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to be a common thing, but hey, okay, great.
These next two,
Infestation. Yeah, so Infestation, Oozing, these are both
they enable
very
cool
interesting.
farms. That's what they do.
Yeah, and that is the number one thing. Like you and I know, have experimented with these
Yeah.
for creating really great farms. In particular, like I know you have a design for a really great slime farm.
Yeah,
And
it
you're
uses both of
using
these.
yeah, you're using trapped LAs that are constantly taking damage that you're splashing with an infested potion,
Yep.
which causes them to generate silverfish every time they take damage.
Yep.
Then you're collecting those silverfish, splashing them with the oozing potion, which is then generating massive amounts of slime.
Yeah, it's
And when I say massive amounts,
it's the most effective slime farm
yeah,
I've ever seen in Minecraft. It's incredible. Like these
hands
two things
down.
combined, and like the infestation thing
Yeah.
does those XP farms as well with the LAs and
Yep.
silverfish. Like
Yeah.
this really useful, very useful additions, and just enable
Yeah,
these
so for me-
mechanics that weren't there before.
I think very easily top, but I mean,
Yeah.
individual results may vary. I know I'm a very black and white person. I either love something or I hate it. So I have a hard time putting anything in the middle.
I think they're cool, and I've done a lot of experimentations with those farms, but I would say I might put an argument in for a B. They're really good, but other than those farms, I don't see them having much general application.
Okay, that's fair, because for anybody who doesn't want to farm slime or make one of these XP type shrines, like yeah, you're right. You may never see them. These potions have been in the game since 1.21 came out, and I've never used them in my survival world or SMP.
No.
So
other than farming situations, or perhaps if you wanted to make a mini game that uses them in some way, like you wouldn't really find that much of a use for them. So
I guess that's the answer, right? Yeah. So very useful when you need them, but generally meh.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Ominous bottle. So this comes with it a whole bunch of other stuff, right? So that comes with the nerf of the ominous effect you used to get from raid captains, killing them.
Yep.
Now they just dropped this bottle, which nerfed
Yeah.
old raid farms at the same time to an extent.
So that's the funny thing is it did nerf raid farms until people figured out how to manage, the new mechanic. Now I have just as productive a raid farm as I've ever had on the server because I'm using ominous bottles. I had to build a separate farm to collect ominous bottles, but once you get those ominous bottles, you can run a raid farm just the same as you ever could with a little bit more work.
Yeah.
So
it's good.
I didn't mind it. It was a pain because I lost access to my raid farm until somebody came up with a good way to put them back into action. Overall, I don't hate the mechanic. I'm not sure why there are different levels of potions. There are 5 different levels. That seems excessive to me.
5? Wow. I thought there might be like 2.
It's literally like levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I couldn't tell you the difference between them. I really couldn't.
I thought it was just the time that the potion has an effect, like the other potions.
No, I think they actually spawn more mobs if you use the higher versions.
Wow. Okay, I had no idea.
Yeah.
But bonus here,
I think
we no longer accidentally have raids happening every time you wander into a village after taking out a raid captain, which is amazing.
Exactly.
That's an actual in-game benefit.
Yeah.
Because that was such a pain.
Is this another B tier, same as the other ones?
I would probably put it higher. I would
in the right circumstances.
I would say maybe
really?
A.
Okay.
Just because of that additional benefit of it.
Yeah.
It was so painful, especially as an early game player. Like when I was first discovering Minecraft and that happened to me, I was just in a death loop for hours trying to figure out what is going on. I can't survive this. I wasn't prepared. It was awful. It was one of my most traumatic experiences in Minecraft, I think. And now that won't happen unintentionally.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it still could if you find an ominous bottle and decide, I don't know what this does. I'm going to drink it to see what happens.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But that's at least there's action there that's that's
no one's to blame but yourself in that scenario.
Yeah, you can't stumble into it without being at least somewhat aware.
Okay. And in the trial chambers we've got 3 discs. Apparently we've got 3 discs. I can't remember. We can sort of just make these one thing, I think, unless you can remember or differentiate between them. But 2 of them even got the same name. One's called Creator, one's called Creator Music Box (parentheses). And
you know what? I seem to recall that one of those was kind of fun and creepy. Like the music box one sounds like a circus / creepy music box. So good if you wanted if you wanted to have like a kind of a creepy time. Maybe you were building a fun house or something and you wanted just some music.
I remember. It's that whole like you put it on and it sounds like an army marching or something. Is that the one? Was that one of the others?
Yeah, I can't remember.
It's just like it's really creepy, like to the point you play it, you get weirded out for a few seconds, and you never play it again because it was so creepy. Not that I play any discs in Minecraft with any regularity. I think.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, right? These are collector's items. These are things that you specifically go looking for. You find them, and then you go, "Great, I found it!" and you put it on the wall, and you never play it. Maybe you play it one time. Or you put it in your machine, your automatic redstone jukebox that you've created that you play one time, or you bring all your friends over to look at, like, hey, check this out, cool machine. Is it really useful? Not really.
Yeah, they just keep adding more discs and tracks. I think it's nice to have more music in the game, but it's more of an ambient thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, just for the fact that you could, craft your own soundscape in the game, sure. I'd give it, maybe C or D or something. But yeah.
Maybe D. Let's put them in D because it's a collectible. It's like sure. I appreciate the fact they tried to make these 3 look different to the other ones, which largely look the same. But
they're not black discs with just a colored center. They actually have colors to them, which is cool.
It's cool. All right. This is a good one. The crafter, the auto crafter. Yeah, we don't even need to discuss that. That's one of the best additions to Minecraft in a decade.
Hands down.
absolutely transformed so many things we can do with redstone and crafting.
If Minecraft 1.21, like in its entirety, was nothing but the crafter block, I would still be happy with this update. You know? Because it just makes things so much better in all regards.
Game changing. Love it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
That was easy.
Yep.
Wolf armor. Now, for us personally, both, I think this is pretty naff. But
Yeah.
in terms of
Yeah. I
the
just don't care.
don't care about
community
pets and
loves it.
wolves, but they do. People do seem to love it.
Yeah, it's cool.
You
know
can
what?
dye
I
them,
wouldn't
right?
go like absolute bottom.
Can you
Like
dye
if
them?
we look at some of the other things at the bottom of the list, like the like the armor trims and stuff, I don't think they're that low.
Oh no, I don't think so
But
either.
yeah,
They're
but
are they
in
dyeable? I
terms of
can't
what I
remember.
care, yeah. Yes, yeah, you can. So you can
Oh,
actually dye them. I think 16 colors now, kind of the same as the Happy Gas saddles,
oh that's cool.
you know, or
Mid
chic,
table.
whatever. So yeah, so they're good. They're fun. You want a pet in Minecraft and you want to protect it and you want to give it some style. Absolutely. Yeah, I would C tier that.
See
Absolutely.
it. All right, good.
Sure.
Armadillos.
Armadillos. Well, you know, I
Pooping all
set
over the
out
place.
early in the in my SMP season to save all the armadillos. So
You did. You
I
might
might
be
be
biased.
artificially biased here. But, you know,
They
in terms
generate
of what they
scoots
give
which
you,
enable the wolf armor and nothing else.
yeah, yeah, they generate a lot of scoots. Like
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single, other item in the game. Maybe chickens dropping eggs, that gives you so much of the same thing that you have so many you don't know what to do with. And
But
there's absolutely nothing to that. You contain an armadillo in a 1 by 1 by 1 square with a hopper under it, and you'll have more scoots than you'll know what to do with.
yeah.
You know, so it's not the hardest thing in the world to use. Does anybody care? I don't know.
I kind of like the
I don't
mechanic where
know.
they go into a ball and stuff if you sprint around them, and
Yeah,
they're more
I mean,
animated than most mobs, but they're also
yeah,
in the same way most mobs are, except the ones you can eat, fundamentally quite useless. They have one drop, one
yeah,
purpose to create a drop that is nice that you don't have to kill them to get, which is different. But
yeah, yeah. One of the only mobs that drops the thing that you get just by watching it.
brushing it, right?
You don't
They
need to do
drop them
anything.
naturally. Can you brush it? Is that another way to get
You
them off
can brush
quicker?
them, yeah.
Mhm.
They use a lot of durability on a brush, though. And again, brushes is one of those things that, like, who has a brush? Do you have a brush?
No, no, that would have been
Would you
another.
bother crafting a brush if you wanted armadillo scoots, or would you just set up an armadillo over a hopper?
So I think we missed in 1.21. Was that a brush thing as well? Was that? But that was before,
That
I
was
think.
in
Yeah.
1. That was earlier. That was
Yeah,
either that was
120
the
point something.
1.20 or
Hmm
1.19 or something. I don't know. It was a while ago.
I feel like these can't be higher than the
So,
dog armor though.
yeah, yeah. I feel like they're lower
Same
than
or lower?
that.
Lower? Yeah. D.
Yeah, yeah. I would probably go D tier.
Yeah, I could with that.
To be 100% fair. They're just, yeah, they're cute and that's it,
Yeah,
But
agreed.
yeah, and again, they're new.
New paintings.
We got paintings. Oh, the paintings. I
There was a
actually
whole
like the
bunch
new
of new ones.
paintings.
I haven't
Yeah.
used them much, but I like because it was so frustrating. We only had like what 5 or 6 before, and they more than doubled them, I think, in this
Oh yeah,
one go.
I think there were more than 5 or 6 though. I think there were like 20 and now it's like 30.
Okay,
So,
they added loads,
yeah.
which is great because
Yeah,
people use them for
absolutely.
decoration, and I
Absolutely.
don't think we can ever have enough, and I would like to see more, if anything, and
Absolutely.
more
Yep,
control
I
over how
agree
you determine
completely.
which one appears because it's frustrating trying to get the one you want.
Yeah, so that's actually something that's coming.
Oh.
I don't know if it's already going to be in 1.21.6. I know in the creative menu, you could pick a painting now that you want,
Oh,
where you never
interesting.
used to be able to do that before. And I've seen it's either a mod or a data pack where you can put a generic painting into a stone cutter and then have it. You could pick the painting you want.
Oh, weird.
So there's
Okay.
that capability is now in the game, whether it's that isn't vanilla yet, but that could very easily be translated to vanilla in a future update. So I love that idea that you could pick your own paintings. So and new paintings, you're right, always going to be great for new paintings. Great for builders.
Yeah, interior decoration. Like we can never have enough interior decoration options.
Exactly.
Right. That's 1.21 done. 1.21 as a whole. Where would you think we would put it?
Well, I crafter. Like I said, I was super happy with just having the crafter. So for me, like the whole update, you know what? Overall, in terms of all updates, if I have to compare it to like all of Minecraft, was this a significant upgrade? For the crafter, 100% it was.
Yeah.
For everything else, the trial chambers and everything else, the discs.
Yeah, a few other things drag it down a bit, but
It
I'd
was
say
just
it
more
was.
stuff.
I'd probably say A or B or A, somewhere around
Yeah.
here as the whole.
Yeah, let's put it as that's what it is. A. I think that's
Yeah.
fair.
All right, 1.21 is an A. Well done, Mayang. 121.1 was nothing but bug updates. I could skip
Just
that.
some bug fixes, yeah.
121.2 was also very small. We just got like baby versions of some animals, including like squids, salmons, dolphins, mostly aquatic things.
Yeah.
Never even noticed, to be honest. It's kind of okay that
Yeah,
they're
honestly.
diversifying nature a little bit, but I'd put that all the way down here somewhere. Like,
Yeah,
it's sort of
probably.
backgrounds, but it's not terrible, but it's also barely noticeable.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. And bundles,
But,
controversial perhaps.
Bundles. So you know what? I didn't like bundles at all at the beginning, but since they've been in the game, it's taken me a long time to get to the point where I've started to experiment with them a little bit. And you know what it is? For me, I can actually clearly define when it made sense. It was the time when they changed the recipe from requiring 6 rabbit hide
Oh yeah.
to 1 leather and 1 string or whatever it is now.
Yep.
So much better.
That was a big mistake with the recipe. Yeah, it just made it.
Oh, absolutely. But that new recipe, I think, just completely changes the game. I love them. They're great for just carrying a small amount of things around. Like, especially for, if you're building mini games or something, you just need, to give people a few things. Here you go. Use a bundle. We used them for Easter baskets when we ran around and did our Easter egg hunt, which I thought was great. Yeah. Are they going to be used the way that Mojang wants you to use them?
They are not the answer to our inventory woes, that is for sure.
Yeah, they're not. So they're not everything that was cracked up to be, but I think there is a place in Minecraft for them. So I'd probably go either B or C if it were me.
Yeah, I'll defer to
Have
your
you
B
used
there.
bundles?
No, not really. But I can see their potential. I think early game in particular, like before you get shulker boxes and stuff or ender chests, I can see them being very useful then.
Yeah.
We just haven't been in that situation since they've been released. Yeah, why not? A B.
Yeah.
So 1.20, 1.2 as a whole sounds like it's pretty much just bundles, but then the baby animals maybe bring it down a notch to a C. Yeah. Just totally meh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This just wasn't enough, right?
No. Okay, let me move all of this stuff up real quick so I can get it all in view.
Perfect.
All right.
There's a lot of stuff there.
Still quite a bit to go. So 121.4 brought us the Pale Gardens, a whole new biome.
I like the Pale Gardens.
Do you? Okay, interesting.
I think, yeah, I think the Pale Garden was really long overdue. We need more wood types. I mean, you cannot complain about the new wood type. The Pale Garden itself, it's an interesting biome with an interesting dynamic. I love the fact that the sky changes when you go into it. I love the fact that there's a unique mob in it. Maybe, it's the same as the trial chamber. You go there once and then you're like, I don't know, do you need to go back there again? You need to go back there to collect the wood. So I personally have been to Pale Garden several times for collecting wood, until I finally got smart and grabbed myself some saplings.
It's atmospheric.
Do I like
it's
the Pale
scary.
Garden?
Yeah. It's interesting, it's unique, it's desaturated and creepy. I think they did a decent enough job. Yeah. As far as biomes go, I think this is an A or a B.
I would A. Sure, I would A tier that.
Okay, let's A tier the whole Pale Garden as a biome. And we already mentioned the pale oak wood that comes with it and all its variants, of course.
Fantastic.
White wood.
How could you complain about having a brand new wood type in the game? And the white wood, I remember seeing that and thinking to myself, this is going to be the new thing. You're going to see this everywhere. White wood, yes, please.
Yep.
Yeah. So for me, this is S tier.
I can't argue with that. It's really good,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we can never have enough wood types or different colored blocks. And now we have a white trapdoor that isn't an iron trapdoor that can be flipped without powering it, which is great.
Exactly. Plus everything, fences, gates, trapdoors, doors, everything.
Yeah, we didn't have a white block other than quartz. We didn't really have white blocks, and it's not white.
Exactly.
It's still a little pinkish, but yeah, it makes a huge difference to the palette.
Hmm. Also, in terms of like just collecting it,
Mhm.
so much easier to collect pale oak
Indeed,
than it is to collect quartz, for instance, for white. Yeah.
absolutely.
So, pale moss.
Pale moss.
Again,
I
I
like it.
like pale moss. I think
Yeah,
it a great block that adds to the game.
yeah.
Builders are probably going to like it a lot more than me. I haven't used a whole lot of it, but here and there, sparingly.
It's great
Yeah,
for blending. It goes really well with tough stuff as
yeah,
well, and also mixing it in
yep,
with the other moss blocks. And obviously, it comes with the carpets and the grasses
yeah.
and those
And those carpet things that crawl up the walls and
yeah,
stuff.
those things. I forget what they're
Kind of
called.
cool,
There's
right?
like the hanging version, which just nobody uses because it looks horrible. But then there's the one that
Yeah.
that climbs up the wall that looks really awesome, and again is amazing for blending these things. I like it.
Yep.
I wouldn't probably say
Yeah.
it's
Are
oak
we
wood, but I'd
second
probably
S tier?
say it's
Okay.
maybe an A. I can't. I don't think it's as good as the wood. Do you?
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I'd go A. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not quite as extensible as wood, but it's still a good block.
Mm-hmm.
Eyeblossoms came along with this update as well, which open and close in the they
Yeah.
open at night. Is that right?
Yeah. A neat opportunity for for a cool animated flower.
Hmm.
I is it you're going to see it everywhere? Not really.
I think it's quite ugly, honestly.
Yeah, it's not the best looking
It's a
flower.
pretty ugly looking flower, but it comes from an ugly biome, so maybe that's spot on.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
sort of meh. It seems.
Yeah. See?
See, yeah, yep.
Sure.
The
Mostly because I
creaking.
don't care that much.
Yeah,
Creaking. Interesting mob. In my mind, I'm immediately thinking that, I love them for, their mini game potential, their weird redstone mechanic potential, and the fact that they're just messed up. I remember hearing about these
they're
right
messed
right
up.
from the they're messed up. I remember hearing about these right from the beginning when people started talking about this mob that if you look at it, it can't move, but as soon as you turn away, it comes at you. And everybody went, "Oh, we have weeping angels in Minecraft now." And from that day, like I'm sold. Like, yes, I like the creaking.
Yeah,
That's probably one of my favorite new mobs that's been added in a long time.
yeah.
Definitely above armadillos and bogged and blazes or breezes, I should say. So for me, yeah, I would go higher than the Eyeblossom. I'd probably go B.
Yeah,
B or maybe higher. No
could
no
be.
lower than B, I'd say.
I think of them as wooden endermen. Like they're tall, they're skinny, they're
Yeah,
creepy. They do an awful lot of damage, but they're very atmospheric and slightly annoying. But also a cool
yeah.
concept. I agree. I would say probably B. Yeah.
Cool.
And they come along with their own block, of course, that helps them spawn the
Yeah, the
Creaking
Creaking Heart.
Heart, which is interesting. And I think, personally speaking, I think this is one of the coolest looking blocks they've introduced in a long time. Like from its uniqueness,
Absolutely.
when it's turned on like this, and it's got this dual
Hmm.
state of being on and off. Does it emit light? Do you know?
I don't think so. I don't think it actually
Yeah,
emits
I wish it did.
real light.
And I wish
Yeah,
there
there's
was a
there's a,
way.
a bunch of missed opportunities there. I was thinking the same thing. There's actually a flower in the game called a torch flower,
Yeah,
which you'd think would emit light and doesn't.
we
It's
need
kind
more
of
things that emit
classic
light.
Mojang, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I could
more
imagine.
lighting blocks.
I think there's some missed potential here. Like it only turns on when you put the pale wood either side, and it becomes a creaking spawner. I wish you could like power it with redstone and just turn it on, and it doesn't do that. And then
Yeah.
imagine just like strip lighting in the walls of these things running through, and you
Oh,
could
I
like,
know that would be so great.
yeah, it's cool looking, but I don't
Yep.
know, maybe, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, as a mechanic, yeah. Oh, C I think is
yeah.
fair for that. Yeah.
It enables the
As a mechanic,
mechanics of the
I
creaking. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. I think that the mechanic is cool too. That if you want creakings, you can just put this block between two pale oak logs, and then you have to wait till night.
yeah.
That's neat. It's a neat way of spawning them. So I don't know. I think it's cool.
All right. And that enables between those two things, that enables the creation of resin blocks. So you
Resin,
whack
yeah.
the creakings, which need the hearts to spawn, and they particle back to the hearts, and those particles turn into resin, which you collect in clumps and turn into blocks, and then the blocks you can
Yeah.
craft the bricks and the chiseled and a few other variants, etc.
Yeah. So
Looks
I
like
gotta be
baked
real
beans.
here. It's really bright.
It's ugly as sin.
Yeah, and for that reason, I don't think anybody's building with this bright
No.
orange block, even though they have the bricks and they have the chisels and they have the whatever.
Yep.
It's just no one's using it.
I don't
So
think
what
they are. Yeah.
I'm finding from a practical perspective, and I play the game in a very practical way. Most of the time, when you're collecting resin, the only thing you want it for is creating creaking hearts, so that you can either farm creaking or so that you can spawn them, or like you said, decorate with them. I don't know. That's it. So for me, resin it's a huge fail unless they suddenly come up with some really great concept for what to do with resin.
Yeah.
As is, bright orange block. I mean,
no.
I know there's at least one orange guy on our server that really likes resin.
He's made a shop. I doubt he's made a single sale.
Because it's on brand for him, right? But
Yep.
orange is a very divisive color, and for me, it's kind of a no.
Yeah, I honestly haven't experimented enough with it, but it's so hard. I can imagine to get this to work in any build in a way that
you could probably intersperse it with like magma blocks or lava, and
red sandstone,
to make kind of a hot environment. But that's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, like as a lava substitute or something.
Yeah.
Seems like it should be down here.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't argue with anywhere.
E.
Yeah, D or even E. Yeah, like honestly, this is just not not practical. So it's just not usable for anything, right?
They just went a bit too far. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Baked beans going E. Good.
Yeah.
So 1.21.4 as a whole. We've got a big spectrum here.
So there's one other quick thing that I want to talk about with 1.21.4 specifically, and this is going to matter to a very, very small number of people, but Minecraft Mojang changed the resource pack and data pack format very dramatically between 1.21.1 and 1.21.4. And 0.4 is really where people started to notice. All of our resource packs, all of our data packs, a lot of the mods that we use, a lot of things had to be completely rewritten from scratch because of the changes they made under the hood in 1.21.4. And that hurt a lot of people. I know. So I don't know. For me, I mean, maybe the changes are better in the long run, but I just remember what a pain it was to do the upgrade to 1.21.4. So I don't know. Maybe that's influencing my decision. For that reason, I'd put 1.21.4 lower. But in terms of the stuff we got,
Yeah, just in terms of the stuff. And we got a whole new biome. We got a new woods, a new mob.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it is B. Sure.
B. Yeah. So in between these two, it's not as meh as 121.2. That is for sure.
Exactly.
All right.
Yep.
121.5. We got a whole bunch of mob variants.
Now we're in the most modern era that we have access to right now.
Yeah.
Aside from snapshots, so all the mob variants, really interesting. Still not sure why they didn't do anything with the sheep.
They didn't change the way it looks, but they changed the way they spawn, so you get more colored sheep in. But they didn't add new textures. They were just reusing existing ones and changing the spawning for it. Which I guess they felt they already had enough sheep. That's what they were thinking, right?
This is the thing. My thought was they didn't need to add new variants of sheep. But like, look at, like, even in this little versions of what you're looking at, look at the amount of texture on the back of the cow. Look at the amount of texture on the back of the pig.
Okay.
And now look at the sheep.
So you're thinking maybe the underlying like bump map for the color, the texture itself.
I would just like to see, just some noise added to the texture. Just so that there's something, so it looks like a furry sheep and not just a block of cyan.
There is some texture in
like,
there, but it does look like it's made out of concrete in the game, doesn't it? Because it's that solid.
Exactly. So that this for me is just another one of those missed opportunity things that I don't know why they didn't take the time to like, hey, we're doing all the other sheep or the other animals. I mean, why don't we do sheep too?
Well, maybe we put sheep lower than the others. Maybe that comes down here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying because there's not really any difference to the sheep. So in terms of like, what new things has 1.21.5 brought to sheep? Well, I'll tell you the one thing that's great. When you shear them, you can now still see their color.
They just appear in the wilds in a different color in different places. That's all that changed. So maybe E?
Yeah. So yeah, sure.
Yeah.
In terms of the other variants, I think we talked about this before. Really cool variations to the game. It's neat that there are different varieties. But at the end of the day, practically does it matter? I don't know. If you're a collector of animals, it might be again a different way that you play the game.
Yeah, to me, it's like it changes the experience of just making it feel more alive and more varied as you wander around the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't care what kind of cow or pig or chicken you have.
I'd probably group them all into somewhere around C tier, maybe lower.
Go with C. Why not?
Okay.
Like it's also just, it's not like they're new mobs. Nothing about them has changed other than the way they look and the way they spawn. Where they spawn
exactly
changed a bit, but it's nice that they're revisiting things rather than just continually adding new stuff. Like make what's there better in some way, shape, or form, and they seem to have found a way to do that without making too many compromises. So
I agree. I agree with that.
Wolf sounds
wolf sounds, I don't know. Does anybody care that wolves have new sounds?
It's atmospheric.
I don't.
Yeah,
they have new personalities and all kinds of things. But like, is anybody noticing that? Is it like, does that make any difference to anybody? I don't know.
Is it E or F?
I would probably go F tier just because it's so insignificant to the game that I don't think it matters.
Cactus flowers, new pretty flower type.
I've seen cactus flowers used in a lot of ways, in a lot of builds. It's a great new block. So great for decorations, great for adding into your gardens and stuff.
Yeah,
I like cactus blocks or cactus flowers.
C, B.
Sure, let's pick one.
B. Yeah, why not? Again, it's like revisiting existing stuff and making it better without just adding tons of new stuff. I like them finally going back and rethinking a few things. It makes deserts look better because they're
absolutely. And the next one on the list, this though I think is high because everyone loves the wildflowers now.
Yeah, this was cool. Was it the first thing to do this little 4-way pattern on the ground? I think it was.
I think the pink petals did, and then
you're right.
The yellow flowers, the wildflowers, kind of came in after that. And now that's kind of a new mechanic that we have with the leaf litter and stuff as well, which I see is also on your list.
Yeah.
With the blocks that basically have multi-states. So I think in terms of wildflowers, and maybe leaf litter as well. I'm wondering if one is better than the other. I was actually going to say that wildflowers are better than leaf litter, but I know a lot of people are using the leaf litter, especially, as you said before, a blending block, right? You put a little leaf litter down between a darker shade and a lighter shade, and you get that smoother transition right across, right? Wildflowers, I haven't seen them used as transition blocks, but they're great for just filling up your landscape. If you want to really nice and easily make your beautiful green plains that's very boring into something beautiful, just add a few of these wildflowers in and you're good to go, right?
Love it.
Without having to bone meal and end up with a bunch of grass.
I'd say this is better than the cactus flower.
I'd say A tier for wildflowers, maybe even S tier for wildflowers, and leaf litter probably B, same as cactus flower for me anyway.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, it's just a bit less practical and useful and colorful, but still good. All right, Firefly Bushes.
Fireflies.
Giving off particles when they have low light levels. Yeah, the bush itself, take it or leave it. But
yeah, I think most people who are doing this, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I feel like at least for me and the people that I know, burying them underground so you don't actually see
Yeah,
the
exactly.
bush at all, just to get the particle effect is kind of the meta.
Hmm.
So yeah, so higher for particles, lower for the look of the block.
That sounds like an
Split the
average to me.
difference.
Yeah. See?
Yeah, exactly.
All
Yep.
right. We're going to need to make these bigger. We're running out of space in the middle.
Yeah. Drag them out. Oh, luckily you've got the tools. You've got the technology.
We've got the technology. All right. So next up, falling leaves. Similar to that. I'd probably say they're obviously connected to leaf litter. They're not directly, I guess, but
Yeah.
they're atmospheric, but nothing
Yeah.
else. Like it's almost just
You know,
like a
it's funny though. It's funny though. If once you have falling leaves in your game, and I've done this recently. I've gone back to previous versions, and when you run around, you look around like something's missing. Like the
oh,
game doesn't feel as alive
interesting.
anymore without
Interesting.
the falling leaves. I think they have subconsciously added so much to the game
Ooh,
that I think maybe you're underrating them. That's all I'm saying. I
right.
think like putting them in A tier just because, like I said,
Oh,
yeah, and you got to try
even
this.
higher
Run
than
around
leaf
in a
litter.
forest. Yeah, run. Yeah, for sure.
I
Run around in a forest in the newest version, and
mhm.
then open up, Minecraft 1.20 and run around in a similar forest, and you'll see what I mean.
I
It's
I'm
night and
totally on
day.
board.
It's
I'm
like,
totally on board.
yeah,
I think small atmospheric things, even though it's like meaningless from a functional perspective, just
yep,
helping to bring the world alive in small
yes, and
ways.
that's what it is.
Like some of the things, the sounds do that as well. Like they added, like in one of these updates, they
Hmm.
added they changed the way sand field sounds underfoot and some other noises, right? And these little, very
Yes,
subtle things that seem imperceptible on their own add up to something bigger. And when, yeah, you're right. When they're missing is when you'll realize that they're good.
yes,
So yeah, love it. See
yeah,
more of that,
exactly.
please. Yep.
Hmm.
Dried grass, just another grass type
Dry
appears in
grass.
deserts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I've seen a lot of people mix it into builds, with along with wheat
Hmm.
or along with other flowers and things, just to kind of give your world a little bit more life. Um, really shape things to be a little bit different. But yeah, nothing super special. But yeah, either of those, it would be at home for me.
Yeah. I don't think it's any worse than a cactus flower. It's
Yeah,
it doesn't seem as bad as a firefly bush, which we put as a C.
yeah,
So
you're not going to bury it. I actually want to look at it, right?
yeah,
So
yeah. Cool.
yeah.
The Loadstone Recipe changed to make it much easier to make.
That for me, instant S tier. That's
Yeah.
me
Says
specifically, only
Relic Runner Man.
because
Yeah.
I needed a bunch for my mini game, and yeah, having to craft them with netherite was a huge pain. And being able to now craft them with just iron and a little bit of stone is game changing. I love it. I also love the look. This is me personally. I love the look of the block in all regards. So whether you're putting it in a wall, especially as the top of an arch, it looks
Mm.
fantastic from the side. I also love to use them as floors. They're great in a checkerboard floor.
Hmm.
Use something like that along with either a white block or a darker block. You
You,
can't go wrong. I
you, yeah.
think it's a great block for building. Great, very useful block. So for
You,
me, the fact that they made the block more accessible is a huge win.
you do love your checkerboard floors.
I do. I'm a sucker for checkerboard floors. Just about everything I do is checkerboard floors.
So for
I would
vid,
probably
this is
A tier
S.
them, maybe. Yeah,
I was going to go B, but
either
I'd
S
meet
or
you in the
A.
middle at A there because you put a lot of really
That's
good arguments forward for that.
yeah. I'm happy with that for sure.
Fallen trees.
Fallen logs. Yeah. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on the fallen logs? I haven't really seen many of them.
I have, and in much the same way as the falling leaves, like
Yeah.
their absence is notable. Like when you see one, you think, oh, that's
Ah,
cool.
okay.
That's a cool addition. Like you just think, oh, it just adds more variety and life to forests and
Yeah.
things, and it just it it's a detail. It doesn't change anything functionally, but I like it. And yeah, if we put falling leaves up there, I'd say it's just B or A for me, probably somewhere in between.
Yeah. And again, very personally, just because for me, I don't see them as that more enhancing to the atmosphere, so I'd probably go a little bit lower. But like I'll meet you in the middle at B.
B? Yeah, yeah, probably not. Probably
Yeah,
not A, because like falling leaves are everywhere, but falling trees are a lot less common. But when you do see them, it's atmospheric and
yeah,
a lot like cactus flowers and dry grass. I think it, it really elevates the biome.
yep,
Spawn eggs, all the new spawn eggs, which
yeah,
is a bit of a creative only thing, of course, but
yeah.
still.
As someone though who does a lot of building in creative
Mhm.
before changing my builds over, especially looking at mini games and looking at mobs, which I do a lot of, being able to instantly spot the mob I'm looking for, or even be able to scroll across my hotbar and know exactly what egg I have if I have like 3 or 4 of them sitting there. That's game changing for me. So I love this change.
Mhm.
It's going to be very specific though, and very unique to the people who need it. So the people who care, and the people who don't.
Hmm.
So I would probably rank this, maybe B, but just because of the lack of kind of global need, maybe lower.
Yeah, lack of applicability and survival,
Yeah,
but it's cool. Like
yeah.
I'll go
It's
with B.
cool.
I'll go with B.
Yeah.
It's super
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
It's
Definitely happy with
and
that.
it was just solving a usability issue at the same time that the old eggs you couldn't visually
Yes.
distinguish them properly in them for the most part.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. And I understand they did their best with the original set of eggs, but
Yeah.
but just when there became so many of them, they realized they needed a change. And it's
Yeah.
funny because this is a change that I don't think anybody was expecting. But here it is, and I think it's cool.
It is very cool. All right. So 1.21.5 as a whole, we've got an awful lot of things. Actually, nothing in S tier for this, but an awful lot of
Yeah.
things in the upper to middle range, with only one or two down below. So
Yeah.
that
So I mean, this
averages out at
is
about a
this
B.
is like yeah, yeah, yeah. A
Yeah.
lot. I think a lot more in the B tier than anything
I
else.
would probably
So
put it at slightly above 121.4. So it's like high B, B plus.
yeah.
It can
And
sit above it.
what is the thing? What is the thing? Because remember, you're competing against Pale Gardens. So what is the one thing that you're like, this is better than Pale Garden? Is it the falling leaves, the wildflowers, the Loadstone Recipe? What?
Yeah, I think just the overall atmospherics that came to the game through all of these
Yeah.
updates. If I were to give this update a name, it would be the atmosphere update. Like so
Okay.
many small
Cool.
little touches that if they all disappeared tomorrow, I would miss more than the Pale Garden if it disappeared.
Yeah. You know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right. Now
The
we're
fun
in
stuff, the
the
new stuff,
most modern.
the most modern, the
This is
stuff
the
that we
stuff
have
that's
yet to be released,
coming out.
but we've talked about
Yeah,
extensively.
the next day or week or something. Yeah, this is great.
Let's start with the most boring and then with the most exciting here. So,
Okay.
Craftable Saddle. That's pretty dull,
Craftable saddles.
but useful.
It's dull, but very useful. Again, especially early game. They've also, with that, changed a lot of the loot tables. So, like when you go to villages or you go to, jungle temples or things, you're gonna find leather where you never could before. So suddenly you're gonna have a lot more access to an early game saddle.
Yep.
I know personally, when I start a world, I love to grab a horse. I think it's just one of the most fun things to do. So you can really quickly travel the terrain. And for me, having to find a saddle in a chest was always like the challenge, right? You run around until you find a saddle, and okay, thank goodness you got one. Now you can get your horse. Taking away that step, I think, is huge. So for me, craftable saddles is a win. How useful? Early game, great.
How many saddles do you need? One, two?
Yeah, that you're not wrong. When once you get a saddle, and this is kind of what I was saying, early game, a day, and I'm talking really early, day 1, day 2 of playing the game.
Even day 10,000,
being able to craft that saddle.
You still only need 2 saddles, like in the game ever, in like your world. But just making
being able to make it on day 1 is huge, but after that,
because you find horses on day 1, and you can't use them on day
them.
1 usually, unless you get really lucky.
I've always, if I do need saddles, like I know you can get them from leather workers as well. You can buy them for emeralds. So if you do need them, and there's a very small use case for that, but
I think this is good. I think like just unlocking riding horses sooner, early game, is pretty big.
which is when you want it, right? It's now available when you need it, so I think that's a win. So
Is it an A? Would it be as good as changing the Loadstone Recipe, or maybe not as good?
I'm gonna say like maybe C.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's
the way you're talking it
it's
up,
good.
yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah,
Well,
because it has limited functionality. Like it makes early game better.
It's very useful. Very useful one time. You know, and then you're right. You don't need it anymore. So that's the only reason I'm dropping it down.
Yeah.
Like I would put it A tier for day one if we were ranking this, like how important this is to day one. But like, you know, the Loadstone Recipe isn't important to be day one.
Yeah.
But the Craftable Saddle would be. So, but in terms of like, okay, I've been playing in the same world for 6 months. Do I need to Craftable Saddles? No, I don't. So it doesn't matter after one.
Done. Play at Locator Bar. We've yet to really experience this properly. We've only seen what we've seen in like playing around with it, snapshots and stuff, and it's difficult to have lots of sort of large multiplayer experiences in those environments. So its value is yet to be seen, but I also am struggling to really see the value it will bring beyond very specific mini-game applications.
I was not gonna lie, when they announced that there was ability to change it or turn it off on servers, I was like, oh good, that's what I needed, because I suspect, you know, very early on after installing this on our server, we'll be like, guys, do you want to turn it off? And everybody will be like, yep. Because it's I just don't see a use.
No. It's comes with a big caveat.
This is almost F tier for me.
Yeah. Comes with, I'll put it down there too. Let's just do it, because it's unproven. Comes with a big caveat. Maybe we will change our minds, but as things stand, it's very hard to see the value in this.
It's really hard.
The only, for us specifically, I think maybe if you play on like a large public server and you want to find a friend or something, but even then it's like you would just use other communication tools to find each other generally. Like,
you know, it's funny. I'm actually thinking of myself as somebody who's mildly antisocial at times. It actually makes sense for me to not want the thing around that people can use to find me when I'm on the server. Sometimes you just want to get on the server and go somewhere and mine or do something. You don't want a bunch of people following you or finding you, or, you know, especially on our server where people are more likely to find you and prank you when you're out in the middle of nowhere.
All right, prove us wrong, my young. Let's see what this is actually like in real life. But for now,
we'll see.
Vibrant visuals, very interesting. Only coming to Bedrock to start, but we, promises of Java coming sometime soon as well. I think this is interesting.
Having shaders on Bedrock, I think, is cool. I love the idea that there is an option available for Bedrock. We've discussed this before. I don't think the implementation was done quite right. I'm not in love with the big feature that they advertised was the block aligned shadows, and I actually think it looks terrible. That's me personally.
I like what they're going for. They're trying to preserve the aesthetic without it like breaking the fourth wall and making it feel non-Minecrafty there. But it's and I think we've yet to really see how performance is. I'm hoping we would get better performance from first-party shaders compared to third-party, because they should be able to pull more levers than someone else external.
You would hope, right?
Yeah, maybe it unlocks the ability to use shaders for people with less powerful, computers or consoles at their fingertips potentially. But it is going to be, GPU driven. It's going to depend what your system has, whether you can actually use this or not. So again, it's unproven. It'll be interesting if they bring it to Java, and it'll be interesting to see if, in the world of Java, where you have so many other options, if anyone decides to choose this over the others, like if it's twice as performance, maybe they will. Right, but if it's not,
that's possible. For now, and most people who play on Java are just going to use any one of the hundreds of shader packs that are available if they want that look, especially with the configuration. The different configurations people can do with them. People can craft their looks, and Vibrant Visuals seems to be just another kind of link in the chain of things that you could add if you wanted to. So I'm curious to see how many people are going to play with it. I'm not sure whether I ever will. I've never been a shader player anyway. I kind of prefer the non-shader look.
Me too, generally.
So
there's a lot of things about shaders in particular I I just don't like. And I've never found like the
Yeah.
perfect combination of like shader effects that I would really like to have. I'm not sure this has
Yeah.
it either. But
Yeah.
I mean, for us, it sounds like we're sort of lower table, maybe a D.
Yeah. Not definitely not F tier, but like, yeah, I would, I would D.
Again,
Sure.
as yet
Because who
unproven.
knows, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Unproven, but our instinct is going to be, yeah, we'll give it a try. You know, it's not something that I want to reject outright. We'll give it a try.
All right. And perhaps the most
Yes.
interesting thing of late we've seen,
Yeah.
the happy ghasts and all of its associated
And it's
things,
funny.
dried ghasts and baby ghasts
Yep.
and full-on happy
We've
ghasts.
kind of downplayed everything in 1.21.6 up to this point. You know,
Yep.
like nothing's got higher than a C tier.
Mm.
But I think Happy Ghast, you know, maybe you and I are on the same page here. This is game changing. Again, this is fantastic. This is going to be a great addition to the game. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how early people are able to get these things. Are your skies suddenly going to be full of happy ghasts in every Minecraft world? That's what I'm curious to see.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's coming with a lot of excitement and anticipation, but so did the
Yep.
Mace, and look at that, where that ended up down there. But
Yeah, I mean, you know what? That might be true. Maybe everybody will get one once, and then you know the next time you start your Minecraft world, you won't bother, right?
It's a lot of
Are they
anticipation
gonna
and
prove
promise
to be
with this.
useful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very excited, but also cautiously optimistic is how I would describe it.
Yeah. I mean, the way Mojang presents it, happy ghasts are supposed to bridge that gap between, you know, day one when you're running around the world, you know, to day whatever when you get an Elytra, right? So the real question is that gap big enough to support something like this?
Yeah.
I know lots of people who, you know, especially the speedrunning community, just, you know, they'll just fly right through, grab their Elytra on day one, right? Because killing the Ender Dragon is still a pretty insignificant task in Minecraft. You know, when you get a bunch of people together on a server, they'll run and kill the Ender Dragon almost immediately. You know, they actually have to force themselves to say, you know what, let's not do that. Let's take the time in the early game so that we don't just rush into everything. And I think for those people, I think the Happy Ghast is going to have a great place. I think having a bunch of them flying around, especially, you know, early game when you want to go see your friends and you hop on your Happy Ghast and you fly over to meet people, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun, and I think it's going to be fun for a while.
And I think it'll be bigger on like public servers in particular, where most of them don't enable Elytra Flight because of the sheer volume of people and the cost of having a server powerful enough to do that with so many people. This will probably, hopefully, be enabled in those places because the chunks can only load so quickly, moving at that speed.
Yeah. I do hope they create a way to speed them up a little bit more. but yeah, I would.
Hey.
Yeah, I'd be happy. I'd be happy in A tier with those because you're right.
It would be S if we were able to play with it now in a real world and we found lots of really cool applications for them and thought we would continue to use them. But we're not there yet.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, right now, being in my mind, I'm thinking about where we are right now in our SMP world, and we're gonna get a lot of happy ghasts, and then no one's gonna care anymore.
I fear that's going to be the case.
We're already Elytra, and you know
we're gonna have like 2 weeks of ghast fever,
flying
basically,
around their base, and that's it, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So A tier might even be too high, but I get this. This is one of those things.
We're being cautiously optimistic because it's also wonderfully bonkers. We never imagined Mojang would do anything like this, and it's just crazy. We had so much fun talking about it and speculating about it. As a mob, it's interesting and dynamic and weird, and I love that they're doing something so wacky. I never would have thought them capable of doing this. So for that alone, I think it deserves a bump to A, even if we don't use it, just because it's just bonkers.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that you can leash like other mobs under it and stuff, might be more useful than we're giving it credit for, right?
Maybe we shall see. So we'll be optimistic. Give it an A.
Yeah. So where do we want to put 1.21.6?
So right across the board. So we've got like F, D, C, and A. So
Yeah.
feels
I
like,
mean,
I mean,
maybe
relative
it's
to the
another B
others,
tier.
is it another
Yeah.
B tier? It
It's
feels
really gonna
it's better than
come
this
down
update
to how. Yeah, I think so too. Um, I think
relative
it's
to
gonna
these.
come down to how useful we find some of these things, like whether we, whether we're wrong about the vibrant visuals or the happy gas, and they flip one way or the other. Yeah. So
Maybe we
instinctually, I think.
like
Yeah.
under these, maybe like that. So like the pale
Yeah.
gold and the
Yeah.
creaking is
Because
sort of in the middle because these are known
yeah.
variables. We know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yeah.
has potential, but there's quite a lot of unknown, and some of it seems useless. Some of it seems like it might become useless very quickly. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think we're on the right track here.
All right, there we go. We're done. That is our tier
There's
list
our
for
tier
Minecraft
list. Beautiful.
1.21 for the whole past year of updates. Overall, Mojang, you did pretty well here. Look at this. We've only got 5 things in the F tier, 5 complete misses, 5 near misses, sort of 5 near, and then a whole bunch of stuff in the middle to upper tiers here that just shows, I think, the vast majority of updates we've had in the past year have been valuable and decent.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So net positive for sure.
Mm.
I think the game is better now than it has ever been.
Agree. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think
I
any
think
of these
Mojang
things
is
have,
moving in the correct direction.
even the things that we've ranked badly, they haven't fundamentally made the game worse. They're just bad because they didn't really make a difference at all, not because they
Yeah,
actually
and
made
that's
anything
exactly
worse.
it, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So everything's moving in the right
Yep.
direction. So if they stay on this path, I think if we do this in a year's time, it could be looking like an even better game.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Let us know what you think in the comments, everyone. How would you have ranked these things? It would be interesting to see what other people think. Cool. Anything else to add?
No, I think I'm good.
I'm all tiered out too. So, yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Please do give us a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed this, and stay tuned for more updates coming in the future. Yeah,
Thanks.
that's it for now. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See you soon.